that's really the biggest component we bring as Lifezone to this project, is empowering Tanzania to really be able to participate in this full value addition in country. And so that's a major driver for us. That's one of the things we're most proud about.
Welcome to those tuning in to the Assay TV, where today I'm delighted to be joined by the CEO of Lifezone Metals, Chris Showalter. Welcome, Chris.
Hi, thank you, Katie. Thanks for having me.
So just as a recap for those who aren't as familiar with the company, can you give us a bit of a background story?
Yeah, no, thank you. So I'm the CEO of Lifezone Metals, and Lifezone Metals, we're really, the way we describe ourselves, is really kind of a modern metals company. And what we're looking to do is create value kind of across the entire supply chain by cleaning up some of the processes that are really the real hindrances for these customers to achieve some of these emissions and carbon reduction targets. And how do we do that? We target the dirtiest part of the process, which is the smelting, and replacing that with clean, innovative Hydromet technology. And we think that's where we can have the most impact. And that's really what our core philosophy and vision is.
Excellent. And can you highlight some of your major projects at the moment?
Yeah, so we're fortunate. We have two flagship projects right now. The primary project we have is the Kabanga Nickel Project, which is one of the highest grade sulphide nickel projects in the world. And we are in a partnership with BHP, who has come in as a investor in the project alongside, where they have an investment option agreement with us to also increase their shareholding at the conclusion of the definitive feasibility study. So this is really one of the most development-ready nickel projects globally. And by integrating our cleaner hydromet processing into what is really the next big source of nickel and cobalt, in our view, this is really puts us in a position to be providing the cleanest possible source of metals, in our view, to the industry. And so it's exciting because this is very differentiated from where nickel traditionally, new supply coming online. Where is that coming from? It's coming from Indonesia. Lots of complications in terms of the quality of that nickel. And so for a lot of the companies that have ESG as a key priority, clean metals coming into their electric vehicles, we're going to be in a very privileged position to supply some of the cleanest source of metals going forward. And having that endorsed by BHP is a big deal. This is the first time they've been back in Africa in over a decade. So a very exciting project for us. So that is our flagship project. The other flagship project we have is a partnership with Glencore to provide clean, recycled autocatalytic converters in the United States. So we announced this deal earlier this year, and that's really taken the application of our Hydromet know-how and expertise that we've developed over a number of years in the mining industry, and then really selectively applying that to a recycling process. And this is part of our commercialization of our know-how across multiple different areas and sectors. And so, yeah, so I think having both BHP and Glencore as two key partners, I think that's, you couldn't ask for a bigger endorsement than having two majors. So
you couldn't. You've certainly got a lot of expertise there.
Yeah, very busy.
Yeah. Right. So let's jump into some of the details of the projects. For your nickel project, you've recently received a license from the Tanzanian government. Can you tell us a bit more about that journey? What's it for? And it's for a processing facility. Can you give us an insight there?
Yeah. So we really have kind of a new model with the government of Tanzania, and this is really the precedent's been set in the country, is this partnership model where they come in. They are a 16% shareholder at the project level, so they do have representation, they do have participation. And so what the government of Tanzania has been responsible for is providing a series of contributions through the licenses and permits. The last permit we received was the refinery license, and that was received a few months ago. And that's really the last key license in our whole entire suite of requirements. So when we say that the Kabanga Nickel Project is development ready, I mean, we're serious. This is really a construction ready development project. And and where we are with BHP on that project specifically, they have the investment option agreement that is triggered by the conclusion of the DFS. And so the government of Tanzania, this is really two projects. So there's the mining project, which is at the Kabanga mine site. but then there's also the refinery location. So the government of Tanzania is very excited, and that's really the biggest component we bring as Lifezone to this project, is empowering Tanzania to really be able to participate in this full value addition in country. And so that's a major driver for us. That's one of the things we're most proud about. And that is something that the Tanzanian government supports fully. So we've got a really mutually supportive relationship, not only with the government of Tanzania, but also with BHP, who's doing a lot of work side by side with us right now to get this to a conclusive DFS.
And is that DFS still on track for Q3 2024?
Yeah, so end of Q3 2024, DFS is expected to conclude, and we've maintained all the key milestones. We've been tracking. We have DRA Global, who's our independent engineer, working very hard on this right now. And this is a very collaborative approach. We've said this before, that this is not something where we intend to just deliver something to BHP that would trigger their investment option. We have a very collaborative process. They're intimately involved in the entire evaluation, all the components of the DFS. They contribute, they support us, and they've been providing specialists for any area that we may have a shortcoming in, whether it's anything from compliance all the way to geotech. It's really exceptional to see the amount of support they provide when required to ensure that we're getting the DFS to a absolutely best case positive conclusive conclusion. So DFS, it's looking very positive, and we're really excited to get that announced end of this year.
Excellent. It hardly comes as a surprise with the support of BHP or Glencore, but you've just raised 50 million US in a private placement. Can you tell us what you plan to allocate that to?
Yeah, so the $50 million placement, so this was really to a consortium of investors led by Harry Lundin and Rick Rule. So really, I think for us, and we just talked about having Glencore and BHP as part of our partnership model, the way we approach these projects, endorse really our vision through their participation, and now having really key investors like Rick Rule and Harry Lundin is it's great to have them in our shareholding list, and having them come in at a point where the nickel market had taken quite a big hit overall. So I think end of last year, nickel price is very depressed. And so our motivation is to maintain our timelines, maintain our trajectory of focusing on the DFS. So to bring in very like-minded investors, supportive long-term investors that pretty savvy in their cyclical investment coming in when prices are low. So more credit to them, given the timing of when they invested and where nickel prices are right now. It looks like they were pretty savvy in their timing. And so the 50 million is really going to be allocated to ensuring the DFS is on track, on time, making sure we're in a very capitalized position going into the DFS. Also having additional capital so we can transition post DFS into the additional work streams that will be triggered by that DFS being concluded. And also there is a little bit of capital allocated to the partnership with Glencore. Both these projects are currently in piloting phases in the engineering labs in Perth at this moment. So really it's pretty unique to have two pilotings conducting side by side. But our technical team combined with Simulus engineers who we acquired last year, and then our own Lifezone Hydromet specialists and team and founders, it's really exceptional to see the work that is taking place in Perth right now. And I think this is when we conclude these pilots and we really see these Hydromet flow sheets fully taking life in these projects, I think it's going to be, again, this is what we're here to do. We're here to clean up these supply chains, and this is going to be just two very specific examples of how we intend to do that going forward, and that's really our growth and our strategy.
Hydromet, can you expand on that technology a little bit more for those who aren't as familiar?
So at the highest level, Hydromet and Pyromet are the two major processes. Pyromet's really, you can categorize Pyromet really by looking at the furnaces and the smelters. This is the most energy intensive, probably the one of the dirtier processes that's out there, and I think that's why it has the most dramatic impact on the CO2 implications for respective companies. And so we've been pretty adamant that if we're going to clean up the supply chain, you have to focus on where the biggest contribution is coming from. and categorically that is smelting. So really our focus is how do we provide a solution for that to the mining industry and clean up that part of the supply chain. So that's really our focus. And then by bringing in Hydromet, that's really, these are water-based processes. We utilize known commercial operations that are actually done in the industry, and what we do is we sequence those in a more innovative flow sheet with our IP and our know-how. A lot of our patents and specific IP are with a focus on PGMs and gold, and then expanding that know-how to base metals is one of the more exciting arenas we're undertaking right now. So Hydromet, really the front part of our process is pressure oxidation through an autoclave, and then there's a series of filtrations and separations steps, and then it goes into what we're doing at Kabanga right now is direct electrowinning. So these are it's taking known processes in the industry, doing them in a smarter, more innovative way, and fitting them together in kind of a resequenced flow sheet that is just smarter, more optimal, and will deliver cleaner metals to the industry.
Excellent. Well, there's been a lot of information there. So just for our investors, can you summarize some key milestones for them to be looking out for in the coming months?
Yeah. So we debuted last July on the NYSE, and so coming out of so we're not quite 1 year old yet, but under ticker LZM on the New York Stock Exchange, and really important for us to be focused on the New York exchange. That gives us access to the deepest capital markets in the world. So really uniquely positioned to be kind of one of the few clean battery metals, nickel, cobalt, copper companies that had a combination of not only new sources of clean battery metals, but also bring alongside that technology that is kind of a nice complement. So coming out, we had a few catalysts that we looked to deliver. One was the partnership with Glencore on the recycling, so we ticked that. Second, we updated our mineral resource statement end of last year, and so we have substantially increased our attributable reserves resources on our mineral resource statement, and we announced that I think it was end of November last year. And then going forward, we have a few key catalysts coming up. Really, the core catalyst will be when we agree on an offtake agreement with an offtaker, and so we've announced publicly that we're in that process, and we're getting towards the kind of shortlist and finalization of that process. So that's one that we're looking to finalize in the near term. And then the next really major catalyst will be getting the conclusion of the DFS, which will trigger BHP's investment option and their ability to come in and invest in the project in that next stage, which is what we're all working towards right now.
Excellent. Well, it sounds like it's been a successful few months for Lifezone Metals, and I'm sure we will hear more. Thank you for spending some time with us today.
No, thank you, and thanks to One. Thank you very much.